Well, hello. So you could see what a tough world it was even before you got to New York. And New York, which was a mecca, and I didn't come to New York, I was born in New York, but it was a mecca for everybody. And it was, compared to any other place, a liberal place, a place where you could have your dreams and try to live your life, but it was very, very difficult. There was no support group. And we were scared drag queens, meaning we weren't in full drag. And that could be more dangerous because it would incite people, because you weren't completing the circle. There was such a thing as female impersonators. It was a big thing to go see them at a Club 82. But if you were just halfway and bold, and if you meant it, they could easily attack you. And those were usually the biggest victims. One example, but we would go where we wanted to. We would go to Harlem, we would go to the museums, we would go to Staten Island, dressed as we were in groups. The times they were changing, there weren't that many attacks on us as there could have been, but it was always trouble. One day I was going to the Metropolitan Museum, which we weren't really supposed to go, because why were people like us interested in art at all? And I wore this Dora Duckman scarf, that was a 6-foot scarf, rayon, that would go around my neck, clutch bag, low-cut thing, Jezebel to push. Hard to imagine now, but we did give an impression. Sorry. We passed these police that were in plain clothes taking down the horses. There was a parade on Fifth Avenue sometime before. And the policeman told me, I did not say to the policeman anything, he said, "Hi." And I told the policeman, "Oh, I didn't know you could be in the police force and be like that." Nothing happened. I was walking along, the breeze was blowing my hair, my scarf. I felt beautiful. Birdie had she would wear a type of hat with bananas on it and everything. We were pretty wild. As we get to the museum, all of a sudden it tightened around my neck, the scarf. I was thrown to the car, and the cop had followed me 5 blocks. Another one grabbed Birdie, twisted it into a tourniquet. I was blue as a Smurf. And as I was looking up at him, this crowd of middle class and polite people and good people and decent citizens really was very happy he was doing that. And they really commended the police on what a good job they were doing keeping the city safe. They were horrified to see that we brushed that off. We took a deep breath, we tried to get our dignity back, and we went into the Met, and that was our dignity, and did see what we wanted to see. No one was looking at those paintings. They were looking at the red scar on my neck and Birdie's swelling eye. So it was very, very tough times. But as I said, we were scared drag queens, and we did have a way of getting back, and it was called plucking nerves. There was no need for me to wear that scarf or have that peekaboo hairdo, which always had a prop to pull away and say, "Do I know you?" I mean, we had them because we wanted to get back at them. They denied us everything. You couldn't go into a hardware store where some salesman would say, "Oh, this is a female plug and this is a male plug. You want to see how it works?" I mean, horrible things every day. It was all based on whim. The police could beat you when they wanted to. They could attack you when you wanted to. Gate bashing was the city sport. I can't tell how many times, but we were very, very insightful. We could look down a block and see who could be danger, who would not be danger, how we could be safe. We mostly were a band of brothers. We knew our sisters, or had sisters. We knew our sisters very well to know how they would react under a situation, and we usually got away. But there were times for all of us we didn't. And this was going on for years. And of course, the whole nation was in ferment for freedom. This was an age of nations becoming independent, civil rights movement, feminism, and we were doing all we could for these different groups, not thinking we were a group. So whatever we did for our ethnic groups or race or everything, we would always, feminists, we would always be helping people until, I think, the night of the riot, we realized we were a group, but we didn't consciously realize this in the sense that it happened. The night of the riot and our revenge was, I was with Tommy, and I think Tommy had gone to the Stonewall, didn't get in. And we were waiting around, and there was some commotion down Christopher Street, we were a little bit towards the east. And then there were paddy wagons there, and then people were passing saying, "No, there's a raid." There had been raids. And normally what we did was we went to watch the raid. And we did as spectators. I got there, the paddy wagon door was open, and a policeman was pushing this queen in, and then all of a sudden, this Joe Crawford come fuck me pum with paste jewels and silver, hit him on the shoulder and knocked him back. The doors closed on the wagon, it sped, and there we were all standing there, looking at the police. But for the first time, something had happened. We started moving towards the police. We didn't know why, we just were doing it. The police became extremely nervous, but they thought they could handle it. The worst part of this ride for the police was that they were so macho and we were so loud. But we kept moving and kept moving. And they started backing up. They blinked. And that was it. We kept moving further and further. The real, true fighters, there are all kinds of queens fighting. The true fighters, the shock troops, with those scared drag queens, more scared than I, more desperate than I. One of them is New Orleans, not a very attractive queen, very, very poor, dressed very poorly. All of a sudden, grabbed a meter out of the street. I just couldn't believe this queen had this super strength. She grabbed the meter and her people helped her. The police went into the doors and closed them. They started ramming the door. It started to shatter. It was an old, strongly built door from the speakeasy times. It had the area where you could look out. Some queen, I don't know how she had lighting fluid. She shot it all over the door and set it on fire. You could see in their eyes as they were looking out at us, still with contempt, still with a half smile, this rising sense of alarm of what was going to happen. And they must have pulled back up because all of a sudden people were being grabbed behind us, around us, by plainclothes, and the police were starting to move in. And this set the whole thing going. We all started fighting. A riot, as you probably know, is a kinetic thing. You don't stay in one place. It's kaleidoscopic. You'll change positions. You'll be with another queen. One queen I was with, I truly, truly hated her. She started throwing garbage at the police. She didn't realize the police were gone. She was throwing garbage at everybody else. But she was my sister. I mean, these were our sisters, and we were all fighting. Every time we moved, we would confront either a group of police or hecklers, and we didn't run. I mean, for the first time, none of us ran. We confronted them. At one point, there was a perfect opportunity, a certain sense of quiet. There's other areas, there was fires, there was burning. It was a war zone. We made a kick line and sang the song that probably some people know. We are the village girls, we wear our hair every girl. The police hated it. They let us get to a few bars and they attacked us. A few of us got hit, but we got away. We dispersed, regrouped. It was terrifying for the stray people coming through. None of them were in danger of their lives. But to be in a riot was very scary. We all got out. We didn't have designated people to do things, but some people guided the stray people out of the riot as we shook the care. A bus driver was very, very strong and butch. He tried to laugh it off, but nobody was laughing the way they used to laugh. He was very nervous. There was fire, there was robbery, there was shattering glass, there was everything that is in a riot, and things kept changing all the time. Well, the police somehow dispersed it. We ran out of energy, but I think we really ran out of energy. We could have kept this going the whole night, and it was mostly the whole night that we did it. When it was over, and the smoke was starting to clear, and some of us were sitting exhausted on stoops. Some of us were gone because they were arrested. Some of us had wounds that we were taking care of, or telling maybe we should go to Bellevue, maybe we should. But looking down the street, I thought, my God, I said, we're going to pay so desperately for this night. It was beautiful. There was glass all over like mica. It was gleaming, and there was like little pieces of beautiful cloth being blown in the wind. And it was actually almost enchanting, but I said, we're going to pay. But the next day we didn't pay. When my father heard about it, he congratulated me. He said, what took so long? And I thought that would be it. But the next night we were there again. No, it wasn't a fleeting moment. The second night I knew that. We were there again. We had done something. We were going to do this. We had had enough. And, oh my brothers and sisters, that's the Stonewall Riot. And you have all picked it up from there. You know, we lit the torch. We couldn't carry it. Other people did. Thank God there were people behind us. we really were strong, and we knew what we wanted. It wasn't what people think we wanted. We wanted to be free. We just wanted not to be attacked, not to be tormented, not to be reminded every day that we were free, that you could be beaten. It was, things changed. We all changed. I think every queen in that riot changed. We were all different. We were proud before, but we had now something behind us to be proud of. We had a focal point. And now we had a geography, because Stonewall and Christopher Street was our street. One time and how important that was to us is amazing. I went to see the movie Leadbelly, and this congressman was